Okay, so I just basically took a real quick look at this. I noticed the fuel line is disconnected, completely missing. Looks like I had a fuel leak at the end, hard to say. I don't really think that's engine oil because it comes all the way up from the head-ish. It could be, it's kind of hard to say. Never really looked over this machine. It's actually, I just turned on the camera at the same time. So this is the information about it here. It's probably not really showing up the best. So it's 3250 watts, and it has 240 volt and 120 volt. So 240 volt, 120 volt. I guess those are ground connectors. Oops. So not too sure yet about the condition. Now I did pull out the spark plug and it has spark. So it was sold to me as not having spark. Or they said sometimes it would spark, sometimes it wouldn't. So I'm not too sure yet. I'm hoping that the actual gen unit's good. Gen head's good. A little bit crooked. Other than that, it actually seemed to turn over good with good compression. I got the spark plug wire off. So it seems like have pretty good, damn good compression. It's not the industrial commercial model, so it's not going to be cast iron cylinder sleeve, even though it kind of doesn't make sense not to have that on the generator. So I never checked the oil yet, so let's see if there's any oil even in it. Yeah, and it looks fairly clean. Well, that's a bonus. You got it like that. So. And of course, trying to get this back on with my left hand. Have to worry about that after I drop the camera, but let's see. It's a 1986. Has spark, and what I'm going to do for now is just pour a bit of gas in the carburetor, see if I can get any fartage out of it. So I'll set up the camera again once I try that. So, and I paid under $100 for it. So, and I know they sell for about $220, $250 when they're running, so sweet. So I think I already see what's wrong with it. So you can see, it's kind of hard to say, but you can see the tab is broken for right there and for your kill switch. So you can see the metal rod is touching the metal casing on here because you can see the bushing is missing. If it's something that simple, kind of feel sorry for whoever owned it, selling it, that cheap and having such a simple problem. I might spark up the old pressure washer, which is, in that corner there. Give it a quick blast. But before, I'm thinking I'm going to see if I can get some fire out of her. So, generator looks pretty dirty internal, so might have to pull her apart and clean her up a bit, clean the brushes and everything. That's no big deal, doesn't take long. So anyway, got to tighten that spark plug because it's just hand tight. Never want to start an engine like that, of course. So a brand new spark plug, which is good. That's the first thing he should have tried, and I guess he did try. Okay, so I know she has spark. I checked before I tightened the plug after playing with the on-off switch cable on the bottom. So just give me a second here. I'm going to pour in a little bit of gas. And I think it's going to run. A little bit of back sploosh. Well, you gotta love it when it's the stupidly simple problems that people get rid of stuff. Anyway, time to hook up the fuel line, which I happen to have some redneck fuel line from the last Briggs and Stratton 8-horse project on the trike. So I think it might just be redneck and reuse this old dirty piece of fuel line where I think the fuel filter is leaking, but just as a temporary thing to see if I can get the gen head powered up. So give me a few seconds here. I also know I gotta properly fix the on-off switch on the bottom so it doesn't give that problem again. Sweet. Okay, I did a little searching. The fuel line's a little too short, and the only good stuff I have is this. And I have clear vinyl, but anyone that knows anything about clear vinyl knows you don't use that with gas. So I'm off to Crappy Tire to go buy some proper fuel line because I can't find any in the mess here. I actually think I might have had a stack outside here. Let's see here. The other engine's still sitting there. And no, I don't. So off to Crappy Tire to go buy some. And there's the other 8-horse. So, okay. Crappy Tire, here I come. Sweet. Just got back from the store, picked up 3 feet of fuel line. Yeah, I always buy extra, but you always need it, and when you need it, you don't have it. So fuel filter came with those 2 little stubby pieces of hose, 4 hose clamps. That was like $3. Hose was maybe $5. So it was under $10 for everything after tax. I'm gonna have to pick up another one of those bushings for the kill switch sooner or later, or I could just completely disconnect it and mount the toggle switch somewhere up top here, so I can kind of decide on that after. Gotta make sure the throttle mechanism works, even though this, I guess, is designed just to run on full throttle pretty much all the time. But anyway, hook up the fuel line and give it a try. Well, I just hooked up the carburetor and it's flooding. You can see it's dripping down there. So, right there. So I got to pull the carburetor apart. You can actually see that it's pissing out of here. So I'm guessing the intake gasket's shot. I'm going to pull off the spark plug here. Don't want it to actually fire with that much gas leaking. And I'll see if I can catch this in a shot so you guys can see. I'm not going to catch it. But anyway, it's just pouring out of there, so the float's stuck and a few different issues. You can see it's just dripping gas. So I'm going to pull off the carb and see how bad it is. So I know I could have probably just smacked the floats a few times, but whatever. It only takes a few minutes to pull these carbs apart and should pull it off anyway to fix up everything, so sweet. Oh, that feels so much better. Don't know if you can tell, but I am just dripping my sweaty ass off. It is freaking hot in here, and I'm not used to working in the heat. Normally, when I'm doing shit like this, it's in the basement or somewhere cold. And the mosquitoes are pretty bad. It's only plus 28 or 29 right now, but or 27 or 28, but that's still too hot for me. So it's still dripping, flooded. So I'm going to be pulling off the carburetor now. I just had to stop and do that. Oh, that's so nice feeling. Sweet. Okay, so it looks pretty clean in there. That's a good thing. But you know how I was saying when I was pulling it over, I seen stuff squirting out of here? Now I know what it is. The manifold is cracked. So you can see right there, it is cracked all the way around this whole side here. You can see how it's been cracked all the way across. I'll try to focus a bit better for you guys here. So see what I mean? Been cracked. Now the funny thing is, it has been welded. So, but they never welded on the flange and ground it down. So, you know, the welding job was okay, and I got a mosquito on my arm, so just give me a second. Bye-bye, mosquito. But right here, I've seen it going squirt, squirt, you know, squirting fuel out of there. So basically, it just needs a drop of weld across here, and then it'd be filed smooth. So I don't know why they didn't do that. So I could even fill that in with just epoxy, like JB Weld. But you know, for the $20 I might pay for a brand new intake, I'll just buy a brand new one. I'm not I was gonna say I'm not too much of a redneck, but I think I am. I'm also going to pull off the recoil here because I want to make sure nothing made a nest in here. Because I am, you know, fixing this to resell, so I don't want to screw someone. So I'm going to pull off the recoil. I'm going to take a look, make sure. Actually, I could probably look through here and make sure nothing made a nest in there. Yeah, it looks pretty damn clean. But I'm still going to pull it apart. I'm going to pressure wash the entire engine because it's a fire hazard the way it is. And I'll go from there. So, but this is no big deal whatsoever. I also know it was flooding itself, so it's probably going to need a carburetor work. So I got some spare parts from another one I just rebuilt last week. So it's kind of weird that I got another one of these motors in the shop. But anyway, I don't know what else I could do on this video for now until I get a new intake. So I guess I'll remove that. And I guess this project will be put on hold for a few weeks or days. Maybe Monday I'll go get an intake manifold. Might just order one in even on eBay, whatever. So I was thinking I could just put on a different carburetor, but those ones are pretty decent, even though everyone hates them. So okay, that's where I'm going to leave this for now. And if you want to see part 2, check my channel. Probably be about a month or 2. So sweet. Okay, so I just pulled out the stud here for the kill switch. or a contact where you'd hook up the kill switch. You can see someone actually epoxied it in place one time, but you can see the whole back half is missing. And that just pushes into here, like that. What was happening is it was actually touching here, which was grounding out the system and making it have spark sometimes. So for now, I can just run this to any kind of toggle switch. I can mount the toggle switch right into the cover here if I wanted to. Right here, on and off. I can mount a toggle switch up to this plate, or I can just leave it the way it is and then someone can put a switch anywhere. I'm not too sure yet what I'm going to do with that, but I do know I need an intake. So I just thought I'd put that in the video. That's the main reason why it wasn't running. And even with the cracked intake like that, I knew that wasn't oil spilled across the entire engine. I thought it was just a shitty fuel line that they had, but I guess not. It was actually the intake. So, and of course I'm going to pull apart the carburetor. And I got the fuel shut off. That's just leftover gas coming out of the carburetor. Sweet. There we go. Just got her out of the parts washer. I'm not going to split it today because I know I'm going to need parts, but they never even had a gasket on this side that attaches to the top of the carb. It was missing a gasket. So, yeah. Who knows? But the guy I got this thing off of was also the owner of all those engines. So, you know, if he had all those, he must have either liked tinkering or tossed them in a pile when they broke. Okay, I couldn't wait. I had to pop her open. Very, very nice and clean inside this carb. It has a rebuild kit in it. You can see by the new screw compared to everything else. Same with that, how shiny and new it is. And the fact that the gasket's actually in nice shape. The bowl has a little bit of grime in the bottom, but nothing major. So, yes, I gave it a quick rinse out with water before I opened it. I always do that. Try not to get gas all over the workbench. So I parts washed it and then ran it with the garden hose just a bit. Everything seems to be in great shape. I am still going to pop off the float here, take a quick look at it, then I'll reassemble it. But yeah, I can't see any problems with that carburetor. That's bonus. Sweet. Okay, I take it back. The float level is quite out of whack. It's not sitting perfectly level. On these carbs, you want the float to be level with it, which it wasn't. So it needs to be adjusted. I'm also booting up the air compressor, filling up the air compressor so I can just give it a good blowout, check everything else. Try to clean up the anti-flood valve or whatever the hell you want to call that, because it wasn't working very good. And yeah, this carburetor is pretty good. Fully cleaned, checked, and put back together, ready to go on. I just started with the air fuel. Well, pretty much everything 2 turns out. I noticed they got the idle set to be pretty high by the looks of it, but I'm just going to leave it like that. It is a generator. I can understand that you don't want to idle it ever right down. So 2 turns, 2 turns. That's pretty much the same as what I set the trike for, which had the same engine. I'm not sure where they had it before. I just took them right out. But wherever they had them, they might have been trying to tune it for the massive air leak that they had. So I'm just going to leave them like that. Once I get it started, I'll be able to tune it up better. So, okay. So tomorrow I'm going to try to find a manifold. Might find a used one. If not, whatever. Buy brand new. eBay, whatever. I don't care if I spend $100 on this. I'll still make a lot of money on it. So, sweet. Okay, got it shoved up in the corner here. I'm going to be pressure washing it, get off all that spilt gas. Kind of figured it was gas spilt everywhere, not oil, because oil was full, and then, you know. Anyway, so I'm going to pull off the recoil cover, give it a good blast down. I don't care if I get water in the oil, engine, anything like that, because I'm going to be changing the oil, flushing it. Gas tank I'm going to be removing, cleaning out. Time for the fun part is I got my pressure washer that has been sitting in that corner now for, I don't know, since winter. I lent it to my boss, and one of our employees at work burnt the old hose off it, so I picked up another hose, and hopefully it's going to fit. I don't know yet. So this hose is rated for 3100 psi. It's good up to 140 Fahrenheit, so it's good for warm water pressure washers. Keep away from hot surfaces. Well, yep. So I bought this at Home Depot, this one. I'm hoping it's going to fit. It's a little bit too late to return it now if it doesn't. It was under $30. And I only paid $75 for the entire pressure washer, so Brand new from Princess Auto. Anyway, get this on and I'll try to get a dirty cold start video of this thing, seeing it hasn't ran in a year. That's going to be interesting, right? Sarcasm, sarcasm. Just put some fresh gas in it. See if I can get this thing going. When I got it, there was a problem with the kill switch wire. That's why I got it so cheap. Oh, don't like that. Oh, she's stiff. She is stiff. Has oil. Oh, water locked. Thought I got all the water out of there, but I guess not. There we go. She built some pretty good air pressure there, even though I swear I drained the water out of there. One more time. It's going to end up cutting my cable here. I'll be flooding her now. I'm just letting her sit with some engine degreaser on it. Engine cleaner. It's what I normally use on engines. Go and let it sit for a while. You can actually see that it's lifting off the grease. Might as well shut this off for a while. Let that sit off for a while. I'm going to let this sit for a good 10 minutes. And I'm not worried about the intake there. I'm going to... I made sure the valve's shut. So as long as you turn it over and you make sure your valve's shut, technically no water should get into the engine. I made sure both valves are shut. So, but of course I'm going to pull it over, clean it out after, make sure it's clean. So, sweet. Okay, now it's time to do the oil change. I checked oil, of course no water got in. I pulled out the spark plug, sprayed in some liquid ranch, it's water displacement. And it was dry inside the cylinder, no water got in. So, like I said, as long as your valves are shut, you're normally good. Yeah, I just sprayed in, the liquid ranch just in case. I'm not going to chance it on this engine. Now I'm just going to let it dry. Once it's dry, I'm going to do an oil change. I'm going to pull off the recoil cover, check everything else. Sweet.